Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience as we organized the technical side of this funeral. We are gathered here today to bid farewell from Los Angeles to our dear friend and beloved father, beloved partner, beloved friend, Raviv. Ron was taken from us so suddenly, and we're all still quite in shock. It was Ron's desire, which he told to his children, that he wanted to be buried in Israel with his family. And of course, that creates a challenge because of the current health crisis that we have here. Thankfully, we were able to arrange that Ron, blessed memory, will be buried, please God, in Israel in the coming days. But before we said goodbye to Ron from Los Angeles, together with Barak and his children, we've organized this funeral here in Los Angeles to bid farewell. I'm going to say a Perek Tehillim, and then we're going to begin with a little biographical information. Mishmor David, Adonai roi lo yechsar, binois deshe yarbitzeni, al me menuchos inahaleni, nafshi yeshoivei, yancheni b'maglei tzedek, leman shimo gam kieleh. Begates al maves lo iraro ki ato imadi shiftecha umishantecha hema yenakamuni taroch lefanai shulchan neged tzoirerai tishanta v'shemen roshi koisi revaya achtoi v'chesed yedepuni koyemei chayai v'shavti b'beis Adonai le'orech yamim. On behalf of the family, I would like to offer a little biographical information and then some personal remarks from myself and all of the beloved who are here with us and who are with us on Zoom. Ron Raviv was born to a modest family in Romania in 1945. He emigrated to Israel at the age of 16. He served in the IDF, and he studied at the Technion, which is the equivalent of MIT, or one of the greatest institutions of learning in the world. He excelled there. From there, he went to the Ministry of Defense, where he worked, and he was sent to New York as a military procurement officer in the defense mission at the consulate there. He also, after that era, went and worked with Tadiran, the defense manufacturer in Tel Aviv. Tadiran sent Ron to California, and he retired from Tadiran, and he stayed in California, where he ended up becoming a very successful real estate investor. As we know, Ron leaves behind 3 wonderful children, Eyal, Dana, and Barak. And the last 35 years of his life were spent here in Los Angeles, in the City of Angels. I, for the last at least 8, maybe longer years, have had the pleasure of knowing Ron, bumping into him and joining him and his son Barak at various events here in town. And it is a great personal loss because Ron was such a full neshama, such a wonderful soul. And every time we had a chance to meet and connect, I always felt way better after that interaction. And he leaves behind a huge legacy of friends, of accomplishments, of an incredible life. Having worked in Eastern Europe and knowing the circumstances of what life was like there after the war and during communism, and then to have created such an incredible career and family, it is no small achievement, and it is no small accident. He was driven, and in a beautiful way, he built a legacy which makes up for all that was lost behind in Romania. I'm now going to turn over the Zoom. It's going to take me a moment to his son Eyal. We're going to put Eyal here to speak to all of us who are here, and you will also see him on Zoom.
Good evening to you all. Good evening to you all. Eyal Raviv here with my wife Doids here in Israel, in Bat Yam. Honored to be with you. So unfortunately, in these circumstances, but I thank you first for being with us in Los Angeles, across Los Angeles, for being with us across the US, friends and family in New York, friends and family across the world. We are here honoring our father, but our father, also a grandfather to our children, Ahava and Shalom Tzvi, who enjoyed so much having Sabaran in our lives. We are honoring here the life partner for Erica and her daughter Nikki, and also a friend. Our father was a friend to so many people. We turned on the Zoom at 6 p.m. Los Angeles time, and already there were 100 people waiting to be inside this Zoom, and we realized that not everyone who wanted to be part of this conversation is able to join, only the first 100. So thank you for being among the first 100 to participate. But this is my father. So many friends, such a chevreman. And over these couple of days since our father left us, so many friends, so many of you have reached out to us in Israel, to Dana and to Barak, to Erica, to Nikki, and spoke of a great man who is also a great friend. And I just want to speak of one value for which I am so grateful to my father, and that is the value of family. Our father always emphasized to us how important it is to create a family where family is a value that guides us. And so our family, the extended Raviv Rosenblum family, is in continued communication across the world, from New York to Los Angeles to Israel. And we as parents to our children, Ahava and Shalom Tzvi, are going to continue seeing my father's example as a guide for us as we lead our family. Thank you again for your friendship and for your support, for your friendship and support of our father, Ron, all these years. And thank you for your friendship and support that you've extended to the family. And we're so grateful. I believe my sister, Dana, will speak next.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's a wonderful thing to be able to scroll down the side of Zoom and see so many of the names that my father would tell me about on our phone calls and on my visits. I am the only daughter, and my father would lovingly call me his most favorite daughter. Which I would do anything to hear again right now. And I want to talk about his final days because they were so meaningful, and they captured so much of his being and of what was really important to him. When my father went to the hospital, we got on the phone with one of the nurses, and she introduced herself, and she said her name was Graziella. And I think in a time of such tragedy, you seek and you grasp for signs. And Graziella was the nickname that my father called me when I was a kid, and I never understood it, but he said it was his way of sort of calling me princess. And to hear this nurse say she was Graziella and she was going to help me speak with my father was such a gift. And we never did speak with Graziella at all the rest of the week, so it really felt like it was just this sort of momentary connection to help me feel closer from all the way in New York. And then there were doctors who took very good care of him. And there was a Dr. Wilkinson, and Wilkinson was the street that my father lives on, and it was the street that I grew up on. And once again, it sort of felt like this reinforcement back to home. And before he passed, but even after the stroke, we were able to have some beautiful conversations, even amidst what he was going through. And in that, he called me and my brothers by the sweet names he would call us. And in one of the first ones, I was able to ask him to tell me about an opera. And even in his state and through what he had gone through, he was able to speak about the opera. And I said, tell Ian, my husband, can you tell him about La Boheme? And he said, I'll tell him later. And, you know, my father had such a love of the arts, and he loved to share it. He shared it through his opera nights. He shared it through his stories. You know, it was just such joy that he derived from it. And it was such a connection that he found, that to see that even in this moment when so much had been taken away from him, he could still express it, was such a gift. And then in one of our final conversations, it came back to the gift of having him as my father. And again, sort of through it all and through what his body was wrestling with, he was able to say to me, I want you to be happy, and I want happiness. And Many of you know my father. He's an entertainer. He's a joke teller. He's a storyteller. It was hard sometimes to just have that moment and that simplicity that summarizes everything. But he did it through his actions. He was extremely nurturing. He was so caring, and he certainly did it through his voice. But to have in that moment that chance to hear him say that was an immense gift, because I think through a lifetime you hear those signals in so many ways and you see it in so many gestures, but certainly as a child you cling to it in whatever most memorable ways that you can. So I'm thankful for the time that I had with my father. I'm thankful that he was that sort of person, and I'm very thankful that even though he went so early, that he went without pain, and he knew his children and his life partner Erica were there and around. He heard us say "I love you," and we were able to hear him say that back. And for that, I'm very thankful.
One sec. Spotlight video. Okay. We're set up. Audio's going.
Well, I can't believe I'm standing here with Akron, because for the past 10 years we did everything together. And this is so sudden, and it's never a good thing to lose somebody, especially somebody so wonderful like him. We had a wonderful relationship, and I'm so thankful for him, that God sent him in my way at exactly the time he had to come to my life, and I guess in me to his. He really loved my father and my daughter. We're very limited on family here, and it was a blessing to find him and his family. And Barak, Dana, Eyal, you guys are very, very good to me throughout the years, and especially now. And we will miss him greatly. I mean, it's just such a huge emptiness in my life. I don't have the words. He was a wonderful, energetic, smart, great man. And I'm devastated, and we will miss him greatly. And he wanted to go be buried at home, and that's what's happening. And I just hope that we'll meet one day again, because I do believe he's in heaven and looking down on all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. I'm going to insert another psalm that we say during Passover. We omit many of the prayers that are said during the normal burials, normal funerals. And I'm going to ask Barak to come up. Yoshev b'seiser elyon b'tel Shaddai Yislonan. Omer l'Adonai mechzi u'mitzudasi Elohai v'tachbo. Ki hu yatzilcho mipas yakush midever havois bevraso selach la. B'sachas kanafav nechse tzina b'sochera imato amito. Lo yisira mipachad laila michetz ya'uf yoimam midever be'oifel yahaloi. Miketev Yeshut Haraim Mipom Tzedecho Elech Ravavi Micho Elecha Lo Yiga רק בעיניך סבית ושעים תראה, כי אתה אדוני מחסי עליון שמת בעיניך, לא ישונא אליך רעה ונגדה לא יקרא באוהליך, כי מלאך בצלח לשמור בכל דרכיך, על כפיים יישאונך, פן יגוף בין רגליך, על שכל בפתח תרדוף תמוק לפיר ושניא, כי בי חשק ואפל תהו. אסגבהו כי ידע שמי, יקראנו ועינינו. Hashem will call me and I will answer. I will be with him in distress. I will rescue him and give him honor. With length of days will I satisfy him and reveal to him my salvation. With length of days I will satisfy him and reveal to him my salvation. I'd like to ask Barak to share some remarks.
It's a very unusual time for us with this coronavirus, something we've never experienced in our lives. And when it started happening, I got very worried for my father because I knew his age and I knew his health, and I worried that if he, God forbid, caught the virus, which he did not, I worried that we would have very little time with him left. And I spoke to my sister and I told her this, and it's something that I was very afraid of, but I never thought that it would. I never expected him to get a stroke. I never expected it to be so quick. I never expected to get the call from Erica. And it's been a very difficult week for the family and for the people who loved my dad, Ron. I'm very much moved by the tributes said today by Rabbi Yonah Bookstein. Thank you again for putting this wonderful event together. By my twin brother, Eyal, who speaks from the heart and told me his greatest memory of our dad was when he was sick in the hospital at 8 years old, and my father walked into the hospital room, and more than anything else, my brother remembers how good he felt when he saw my dad in the hospital room. My dad was the person who cared for everyone. It was fun to be sick when you had dad taking care of you, because he would make you the hot the cocoa. He would tuck you in. He'd let you watch TV. He'd let you skip school. He'd let you do whatever you needed to do to get better, and then some. And I was also very moved by Donna's tribute. I think the last week with our dad was one of the most moving and emotional and connected for you. Sometimes to connect with our dad, we would talk about the things he loved most, like opera and the art. And when you asked him to tell you the synopsis of Carmen after he had a stroke, and he's in the hospital and he's on his bed and he starts articulating the synopsis of Carmen, which we never watched. It was very moving. Erica, thank you for your beautiful tribute. I know you loved him very much. And Nikki, you're part of the family. Really appreciate you coming here and being out with him as he passed away. I also want to thank Doids, Ian Mednick, and Indra Dixnita for being by our sides, for being by Eyal, Donna, and myself. And those of you who know my dad, knew his personality, his warmth, his hospitality. He absolutely loved to entertain. For him, the best way to live life was to host an event. He had a passion for traveling. He loved cruising. He loved going to, telling about his stories about how he traveled all over the world. And above all, he probably had a passion for theater and opera. He would love to go out almost every night of the week. Nothing slowed him down. And those of you who knew him close would know about his friendliness, his infectious smile, his intelligence, and maybe above all, his joke telling. He made everybody laugh. If he was sitting over here right now, he'd probably be in the back somewhere saying a joke about somebody, maybe even the person behind us. But I've been very moved by all the tributes that I've received, that I've seen posting on our Facebook, on our text, the phone calls, the emails, reaching out to us. Some of the words, the comments were so moving, calling him a humble giant, the kindest person, an extraordinary human being, a quality man, incredible person, an unforgettable father. For all of those of you who said that, I cannot express in words how much that means to all of us. Although his sudden death was unexpected and it was very quick, we were very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to speak to him. My father had a stroke two Sundays ago, and in the first day or two, he was able to communicate with us. He was able to hear us. He knew who we were. He was able to talk back to us. One of the things I will never forget is being able to say to our father, "I love you," and wondering whether the stroke would have prevented him from saying it back and saying again, "We love you," and waiting for him to say it back, and then saying it in Hebrew, "Anachnu avim otcha," and he says, "Gam ani," me too. It was a beautiful thing. We feel very fortunate that in light of the strange times that we're in, the hospital allowed us to come visit him. Fortunately, he wasn't affected by Corona, so we were able to see him in person. We were able to hug him. We were able to kiss him. We were able to tell him our favorite memories. We were able to be by his side as he took his last breaths, and we saw him slowly fade away. My father thought he was Superman. I really believe that he thought he would never die. And he had a relentless energy. He loved the people around him. He loved his family. And even when he knew it would be his time, he chose to be buried with his family in Israel. And tomorrow, we're going to be sending Dad to Israel to be buried with his mother, Sophia, his father, Avram, and his brother, Vili. I'm very fortunate that my twin brother will be there to see it through. And I feel like as a family, we've really passed the baton from Los Angeles to New York and soon in Israel. There's a lot of things I remember about my dad. He was a very different man in many different times of his life. When we grew up, he had a very big focus on education. He stressed the importance of doing your best. He stressed excellence. And above all, he never forgot the importance of family. He was the life of the party. He was the proud father. And I'm very sorry to say goodbye. And I'm very thankful for the life that you've given us. We love you. אנחנו אוהבים אותך.
Thank you, Barak. Happy is the one who has not followed in the counsel of the wicked, nor stood in the path of the sinners, nor sat in the company of the scornful. Rather, that one's delight in the Torah of the Lord, meditating in God's Torah day and night, and will be like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in season, whose leaf will not wither, and whatever that one does prospers. Not so the wicked, who are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked shall not survive judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord loves the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked is doomed. Before we conclude, I wanted to add that during Passover, a time of national joy and liberation, it is such a cognitive dissonance, such a challenge for all of us we are torn apart by this sudden passing of such a great, towering, humble, wonderful man. And we're also in the midst of the most unusual Passover celebration our people has ever had in 3,500 years. I think it speaks to the incredible spirit of Ron of blessed memory and his children and his loved ones and his life partner and his grandchildren, that please God, he is on his way home to Eretz Yisrael, the place that he loves with all his heart. He's on his way back, and please God, he will arrive there safely and he will be buried there. Because of this, passing away on the festival and the various laws, Barak will not be sitting Shiva yet. His Shiva will not begin until Thursday evening. Donna, depending on circumstances that are a little beyond on any of our control at the moment, we're not sure when she will be sitting Shiva, when that will begin. And of course, Eyal in the Holy Land will not be sitting Shiva until the funeral there, after the funeral there in Israel. So I ask, if you are looking to connect with one of these wonderful people and offer their condolences, just know that they receive all of your messages and emails and texts, and they're very, very grateful for this outpouring of love and support. They might not be able to get back to you, but that doesn't mean they didn't hear. Additionally, when there is some information about a way that they will to connect with them when they are sitting Shiva, that information will be sent out again in an email, so you'll have access to that. Whenever such a dignified and wonderful person takes leave of the world, we also say that Hashem is also crying. Hashem is also crying. Although Ron's neshama is on his way back to his eternal resting place, and his body will be in the land of our ancestors and its final resting place, we share with God the sadness of losing him. And I ask the people, there will be much information out, but right now that's something that you can do in his memory is to do a mitzvah in the memory of Ron. What was his first full Hebrew name again?
Shlomo Zalman.
Right. Shlomo Zalman. Ben
Sophia.
It's fine.
Avram.
Shlomo Zalman ben Avraham. And say, and Sophia. Do a mitzvah in his memory. And there'll be other opportunities that will be the family will let you know how you can honor Ron's life. We won't be discussing those, of course, until Ron has reached his final destination. Ladies and gentlemen, and on behalf of the family and those who are here and on Zoom, thank you very much for joining us for today's proceedings. And we wish everybody that we should be b'tzeres tovos and final farewell to a dear friend. Thank you very much. The recording, please God, will also be made available for everyone. Thank you very much.